Best Bandwagon, Value Player, Flop of the Season. It's time for the FPL Awards. I'm Gianni. We're going to be crowning our mighty 7 FPL Awards. Why 7? Well, I thought of 7 good categories. Maybe you've got more and let us know in the chat. So we'll be going through our best value player, our unfashionable star, the best newcomer. We've got Bandwagon, Goalkeeper of the Season, Flop of the Season, and then a special award for one player and one player only. So let's start with the best value player. The 3 candidates for the award are Rashford, we've got Martinelli, and we've got Kieran Trippier. So let's go through them very quickly. First up, we mentioned Rashford. I mean, FPL dropped his price so low. He has been incredible value. He's been a legit captaincy call at one point this season, and he's put up devastating returns in and around sort of that World Cup period. An incredible option that's going to be so much more expensive next year. He could even be a forward next year because he's played both on the left and central. Now, when you play wide, FPL keep you as a midfielder, but because he's occupied that 9 spot, maybe he's moved to a forward. So Rashford, Martinelli, so impressive. Look, this could have been Odegaard. Same price, very similar in points. But Martinelli was so popular, I think from game week 1 really, wasn't he? And he's been a brilliant option all season. Huge number of attacking involvements for the young Brazilian. And then we've got Kieran Trippier. Super impressive. The amount of clean sheets early on, but not just the clean sheets, the assists and the bonus points. He was an absolute machine last season. And actually, there were games he lost, conceded 1 or 2 goals, got no attacking returns, and still picked up bonus points. I don't remember that happening. So for me, he started the season at 5 million. The best value player of last season goes to Kieran Trippier. There we go. Tried building a bit of suspense there. Well done, Kieran Trippier. You've been an absolute legend. You've been in all our teams at some point. For many, you've been a set and forget. Guys, just want to give a shout out to OneFootball for sponsoring this video. You may have seen them on my channel before. I'm a long-term user of OneFootball, and if you haven't tried the app, then check it out. The link is in the description of this video, but it's going to be great in the summer months, not only for like some of your highlights of cool video clips, but also your news and your transfer stories. That's what I love about the OneFootball app. It's so up to date with all the big stories, and I know the speculation around the transfer window is always loads of fun, but OneFootball have got 1,000 stories from 1,000 sources all the time on the app, so do check it out. Thank you guys for supporting the show, and I'm sure we'll be using the OneFootball app through the summer and next season. Next up, we have got the Unfashionable Star. Nominations are Eze, we've got Ben Mee, and we've got Pascal Gross. So here we go. Pascal Gross, first and foremost. You know, Pascal Gross has been putting up similar returns, actually outscoring March, McAllister, Matoma. Like, we've all owned those Brighton midfielders towards the end of the season. No one owned Pascal Gross. Consistency is sometimes king. There is no one more unfashionable, maybe there is, we'll see who wins the award, than the German Pascal Gross. Really good performance, really good player, playing for a really good team. Ben Mee has to get a nod, has to be nominated. Have you owned Ben Mee this season? Very few have. I think he ended the season around 14% owned, but 3 goals, 2 assists, a ton of clean sheets. Cheap as well. We knew when Ben Mee went to Brentford we'd see more clean sheets there. No surprises, we've seen them. Definitely on my radar for next year. Finally, the Unfashionable Star nominee, Eze. Look, he's clearly a baller. He's clearly very fashionable. But in terms of FPL picks, he's been under 10% owned all season. Now, when you look at his run, and when you look at some of the FPL midfielders that he's outperformed, how has he been so ignored since Roy Hodgson came in? Yeah, some went Eze on the final day, but very few decided to pick Eze in their FPL teams. And he just absolutely smashed it this season. Like, I look at some of the players he's outperformed, like outperformed Son and Trossard and Bowen and Foden and loads of those Brighton midfielders. He's outperformed Maddison and Gundogan and Barnes. We've all owned some of these players. We haven't really owned Eze. And for that reason, for his points and his goal involvements, for that run-in, where, by the way, in terms of goals, this season, Eze hit double digits. double digits goals in the Premier League. So for me, it's an easy one, this one. The most unfashionable star in FPL last season goes to Eze. There we go. Next up, we have our best newcomer. Now, it wouldn't be fair to put Haaland in this. So we're going to forget Haaland. We'll talk about him later. Best newcomer, excluding Haaland, is the game. We have Hakpo, we have Isak, and we have Matoma. So Hakpo listed as a midfielder. I was surprised to see that. He's been playing as the number 9. I think next year he'll be a forward. He's come in, he's done well. We probably wanted a little bit more in terms of goals and assists, but he's put up good points at times. There was times around double game weeks where Hakpo was a very popular option. He's been impressive. Isak, same again. Wasn't guaranteed for minutes when he came in. As the season's gone on, he was getting way more minutes, looked really good. It was a shame to see him so far out on the left for so many weeks. For those that went there over, say, Callum Wilson, you'll remember the double game week well at the end of the season, guys. But I think he's been a really good addition, and I think he's going to become a very good FPL option. And then finally, we have Matoma. What a breath of fresh air this Brighton team has been. But Matoma, for so long, was central to all of their good play. And I think as the season developed, he got a little bit tired. And I think we saw that with his returns. But off the back of the World Cup, where he had a good World Cup for Japan, the performance levels were so high. And there was a time after the World Cup where he was scoring every week, yet we weren't picking him because Brighton had a couple of blank game weeks. So we were like, no, we're not going Matoma. And he was punishing us every week. And for that reason, for the points he put up in such a small amount of time, off the back of the World Cup, for me, the best newcomer has to be Matoma. There we go. Matoma gets the award, and deservedly so. Next up, we have got Bandwagon of the Season. And we're going to start with Almiron. Almost 40-50% owned at one point. I think off the back of the World Cup again, found 40% owned. And before the World Cup break, he was getting loads of points. We just weren't buying him. And then after the World Cup, I think we all bought him and his returns dipped a bit. But again, the numbers Almiron was putting up were scary for a mid-price, I say mid-price, for a budget midfielder. And he was budget. Like, Almiron ended the season at 5.4. I think he started at 5.0. He went through a phase around game week 9 of going 15, 7, 3, 10, 10, 12, 8, 6, 8. All the way to game week 17. Unbelievable returns. And I think he's shown to be clearly a very good player that we didn't think we necessarily knew. And again, next season we'll have eyes on Almiron. If he can cement a team in the Newcastle team post-transfer window, we don't know. An example of a good bandwagon. Isak, an example of a not so good bandwagon, knowing so many went there at the end of the season when he was blanking and Wilson was returning. So Isak is nomination number 2. And then we have Mitrovic. Was so highly owned around a double game week where if he picked up a yellow card, he was going to pick up a ban. And he went and picked up that yellow card away at Leicester. And it meant he was out for the second game of the double game week. And a lot captained him. He was a huge bandwagon. Now, what makes this bandwagon it was hilarious for those that didn't own him, was so many ditched Ivan Toney to accommodate Mitrovic. Yeah, you did, didn't you? I know there's people watching going, yeah, I did that. And Ivan Toney went on an amazing goal-scoring run. And again, with Toney, we thought the ban was coming, and the ban just wasn't coming. And ironically, it was Mitrovic who got banned for yellow cards and didn't pick up the points. Again, he was playing injured a lot at that time, Mitrovic. He kind of needed that rest. So Mitrovic was a huge bandwagon. But for the percentage ownership, the award for a 5 million mid has to go to Almiron. Fair play. I think we all owned him, didn't we? He was a huge bandwagon for so long. And an example of a good bandwagon, not a troll. Like, I think Isak trolled a few and Mitrovic trolled a ton. And if we were doing an 8th award, let's do an 8th award. Troll of the season is Mitrovic, just for that double game week. So, goalkeeper of the season up next. In all these, I've not been nominating goalkeepers. So I feel like I have to nominate do a goalkeeper award. Now, this shows me, every season we say it, ignore the premium goalkeepers. Don't buy your 6 million goalkeepers. And actually, the likes of Ederson and Alisson and De Gea, they've come down in price. So they're not as premium as they used to be. But budget is the way forward with goalkeepers. And when we look at the best goalkeeper performances this season, I think it's pretty clear. The best goalkeepers have been the cheaper goalkeepers. Why? Well, they do get some clean sheets, but they get loads of saves and bonus too. So, my nominees are David De Gea, who at times did really well. I think he got the Golden Glove, kept a lot of clean sheets. Pope, for the early season form we saw from Pope, amazing. He saved 2 penalties this season, last season, Pope as well. And he got a ton of points when Newcastle were keeping clean sheet after clean sheet after clean sheet. So Pope has to be recognised. Again, I think many of us owned him. We had Trippier and Pope double up, a lot of us, didn't we? And then my last nominee is a man that has made more saves and got more bonus points than any other goalkeeper. He started the season at 4.5. He ended it at 4.8. He's going to get the award. It's Raya. An unbelievable performance, and perhaps we didn't own him enough. I think he was in my squad for a few weeks towards the end of the season. But yeah, Raya, because of the save points and the bonus, and bonus points for goalkeepers, you can clock him. The BPS does well for pass completion and over 30 passes, and Raya gets that every game because he plays out and they use him and he's good with his feet. So Raya for me is the goalkeeper of the season. Look, special mention to De Gea, to Pope, and we've changed our goalkeepers a lot. And to even, look, at one point, Kepa was getting us back-to-back double-digit returns. Like, there's been good choices, but they've all been cheap. For those that went with the Everson and Ward double up, I did to save money. Maybe you don't go there next time. You don't go for a really bad team just to save 0.5. But those mid-table teams, certainly like a Brentford, can put up big goalkeeper performances. We've got 2 more awards to give out. We're going to go next on to Flop of the Season. Who has been Flop of the Season? We're going to start with Anthony. This is a guy that cost Man United, was it almost 100 million euros? Very disappointing in terms of output. In terms of returns, he got minutes. He did get minutes, but very few points. You expect Anthony to hit over 100 points in an FPL season. No, he didn't. Nowhere near, really. Disappointing for me. I don't think he's been highly owned, so I don't think he's stung many people. But what's he going to be next season? 6 million? 6.5? He doesn't really deserve a high price tag. Next up, we're going to go to Son. Now, Son's returns haven't been too bad of late. He ended the season okay, but a massive flop. Why? Well, because last year he was so good. So good. He was right at the top of the charts. So much so that FPL priced him at 11.5. Son needs to be sub 10 million, doesn't he? And next season, I'm sure he will be. But a big flop because we expected so much under the Conte. I thought Kane and Son together, but it was just Kane. Kane had an amazing season, to be fair. Son, a really poor one. And then my third nominee for Flop of the Season goes to Raheem Sterling. The expectation was so high. Again, you're spending almost 10 million as an FPL asset on this guy. The returns just completely dried up. We knew when he left City, the returns wouldn't necessarily be as good, or some of us thought, being the main man at Chelsea. We expected way more than 100 points. We expected more than the 4% ownership he ended the season on. Raheem Sterling, so disappointing. We expected more than double digits in terms of goal involvements. It was a bad season. So for me, I think because of the price tag and the expectation, it's between Son and Sterling. I think Anthony, we can give him a year. It is his first year in the Premier League. But Flop of the Season to me, because the points were so bad, is Raheem Sterling. There we go. Let us know if you agree with some of these. There might be other nominees. Let me know in the comments. So we've got Sterling for Flop of the Season. The last award of the 8. We said we'd do 7. We did 8 because we did Mitrovic as a troll. The last award. You tell me the title. I'm going to give you the answer. You give me the question, right? The last award goes to Erling Haaland. Now, what's the name of the award? The name of the award could be Best FPL Asset Ever, FPL Asset of the Season, Player's Player, Manager's Player, Top Point Scorer, Top Goal Scorer, Absolute Machine. Erling Haaland has to get an award. He could have cleaned up in so many of these categories. We had to exclude him from Best Newcomer. Erling Haaland has changed the way we play FPL. He could have got Best Captaincy. That's what we could have called it, because we all captained him. Now, has he made FPL a bit boring? Yeah, he has. Next season, will he make FPL a bit boring? No, he won't. No, he won't. Because he'll have a huge price rise, and there will be a conversation to be had. If he's 14 million or 14.5, and we've seen that before with, I think, Van Persie and Henry, you pay it. If he's 15 million, I think you pay it, because he gives you the best captaincy option most weeks, so you just pay it. And now, sure, you've got to shop for some more differentials. We can do that. No problem at all. That makes it more fun in a way. I want to be able to have some low-owned players, low-price players from some unfashionable teams. I don't want to fill my squad as I did this season with a Rashford at 6 point whatever and, whoever or whatever. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. So, next season, Haaland will still be EO of over 100% every game week. And I'm up for that. I don't mind that. But I do want him to be higher priced, and he absolutely will be. So Haaland gets the award for being an absolute legend. Thank you for coming to our game. Whilst you made it boring at times, you've also made it very, very fun. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments to these awards. I've enjoyed doing them. And thank you again for OneFootball for sponsoring the awards video. There's more content coming out. Do stay tuned in the summer months. And of course, lots of those 60-second shorts on my YouTube channel as well. So thank you guys for supporting the journey so far. And I will see you very soon.